I'm not even trying to do a show on Chicago today. I made up in my mind that I wasn't even going to do a show on Chicago today. Shout out to Jamal Fowler. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. I made up in my mind today I wasn't going to even do a show on Chicago today. And guess what? We right back there. Right back at it. Right back in Chicago. Did you know that it's a judge that was appointed by Obama that basically ruled that illegal immigrants or migrants can have pistols and guns? And then Mexico said, listen, whoever cross over into your border, finders keepers, we not accepting y'all deporting nobody back over here regardless of whether or not they crossed over from Mexico. Man, it's getting bad inside the United States of America. Make sure y'all tap it. Oh, snaps. My what's his name? I was just watching the movie over my brother's house over the weekend. Norbit. Hold on, let me see something. Oh my God. Norbit. Should look a little better than Norbit, but Norbit. Shout out to Norbit. I keep seeing Norbit everywhere. Maybe it's just the fact that I like Norbit. Maybe it's the fact that I like Norbit. So anyways, apparently a Chicago judge decided that they wanted to make sure that they can help migrants. Okay, well, we're going to get there. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. Also, Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift to keep you from looking like Norbit.
A judge in Illinois just ruled illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms. So rather than the circle with the line through it, we need like a thumbs up emoji there. The case is pretty simple. Police arrested an illegal immigrant living in Chicago with a gun back in 2020. They charged him for violating the federal law banning illegal immigrants from having guns. It's been on the books for a long time. Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman just decided the Second Amendment applies to him, the illegal immigrant, like everybody else, so he can have a gun.
How do you decide that people that's not even legally here get rights? Do y'all know that y'all actually vote y'all judges in? A lot of people not familiar with that. A lot of people don't even know who they voting into office. This is why I said it takes a level of understanding, and y'all got to start participating in the election process and understand what these people stand for. Do you guys know that the judges that is presiding over your cases and determining the laws and ruling in your favor, and that's being established? This judge was established by I believe Obama. Is that what they said? U.S. District Court for Northern District of Illinois. Y'all got to get involved. You want to know why you getting so many long sentences? It's because of the prosecutors that you vote in and the judges that's ultimately in place.
In her decision, she wrote that Humberto Flores received and used the handgun solely for self-protection and protection of property during a time of documented civil unrest in the spring of 2020, the summer of love. Court documents show Flores fired the gun at moving cars during the BLM riots in Chicago. He argues police officers warned him about looters who were approaching his neighborhood. Key to this ruling is that the judge says Flores' conduct heavily impacted her decision. He had no criminal record and was not considered a risk to public safety. This case is just one of many challenging that federal statute that prevents illegal immigrants from possessing a firearm. There are cases unfolding in states nationwide. Shan Wu is here, former federal prosecutor, turned criminal defense attorney, once a very senior officer at the DOJ. Good to see you. Should I be shocked that an Obama appointee found a gun control law that she didn't like?
No, but I think it's very fascinating that this whole push towards expanding the deference to the Second Amendment, in some ways has kind of come full circle here, where something that really seems counterintuitive, the idea that someone who's not here legally still has that right, and you can't use this particular statute, which is commonly known as the felon in possession statute. But the way it's written, she really zeroed in on the language. He's not a felon. And the gray area, of course, is whether or not his status, and frankly, I think the way he was using the gun calls a little bit into question, how peaceful he is.
So he was shooting at moving cars. I just want to make sure that we all get this together. He's shooting at moving cars. I thought personally, now I could be wrong, I thought that Chicago and New York had some of the strictest gun laws in the entire country. I could be wrong. I thought Chicago and New York, correct me if I'm wrong, had some of the strictest gun laws in the United States of America. And so her ruling was based off of how she felt about him, not whether or not he was actually here legally. Okay, got it. Let's pivot for a moment. Now, considering this whole migrant crisis, because I've been covering it for like 2 years now, considering this whole migrant crisis, did y'all know that Mexico is saying that it won't accept migrants sent back under the Texas law? Got to check this out.
Hello, thank you for joining us. We begin our report at the southern border, specifically in Texas, where state authorities may now arrest and prosecute migrants suspected of crossing illegally. Supreme Court Tuesday allowed a Texas law known as SB 4 to go into effect while a lower court continues to weigh a lawsuit brought by the Biden administration claiming the law is unconstitutional. The federal government has traditionally had the sole power over immigration, and CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe is following the president's response.
Razor wire and Texas National Guard troops along the U.S.-Mexico border reinforced tonight by the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, Lone Star State Sheriff and police departments can arrest, jail, and judges can prosecute migrants accused of illegally entering the U.S.
He's not denying illegal entry. President Biden is aiding and abetting illegal entry.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who's been locked in a years-long fight with the federal government over border security, last year signed what's known as the SB 4 law amid the historic increase in migrant border crossings. Today,
can we give a round of applause to Professor X? Shout out to Meals on Wheels, Professor X. Governor Greg Abbott is down there doing the Lord's work, standing up to the administration. Shout out to Professor X.
He called the Supreme Court's ruling a positive development. The White House sought to block the law and today said it's another example of Republican officials politicizing the border while blocking real solutions.
What does that mean?
Politicizing the border while blocking real solutions.
What does that mean? Okay, so Texas, because the Biden administration refuses to enforce the laws that's already on the books that requires the federal government to patrol our borders and to remove people that are crossing over here illegally, decided that they had to create something to prevent people from coming over into the state of Texas illegally, which was absolutely overwhelming what was going on there. And so they created SB 4, which basically allowed for them to be able to arrest people that come over here illegally and send them back to wherever it is that they crossed over from. Nobody is slapping nobody in the face. Nobody kicking anybody in the butt. You come over here illegally. You go back the way you came from. We're not dealing with this nonsense. We're going to arrest you. Okay, cool. Then the White House, again, Karen Jean-Pierre, who I think is the black chick with the squiggly hair that be on the White House press briefings, says they release a statement on behalf of the Biden administration. And it says, listen, this law that does not allow for people to continue to cross over here illegally is just another example of Republican officials politicizing the border. What? While blocking real solutions. So it's not a real solution to prevent people from coming over here illegally. Got it. Okay.
They called on Congress to pass a bipartisan border security plan currently being blocked in the House. The Supreme Court allowed the new law to take effect, but it still faces a challenge in a lower federal court. Today, conservative justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett urged the appeals court to rule quickly. Liberal justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson questioned the law's constitutionality and said it'll upend the long-standing federal-state balance of power and sow chaos. Multiple law enforcement officials tell CBS News they're already short-staffed and don't have the training from the state on how to enforce the law.
It's not like, oh, he looks illegal and we're going to put him in jail. We can't do that. You know, we can't stereotype someone, someone from Mexico and do that.
And that potential for racial profiling across Texas
Hey,
is what
look at that.
concerns
Did y'all
migrant
see
activists.
Do that.
Did y'all see that? Do you see him walking while illegals don't even, like, I remember when I used to watch documentaries back in the day, because I'm a documentary guy. And I used to watch documentaries, and they used to have to, like, dodge the border patrol and sneak in because they was afraid they was going to get caught or whatever. They don't even do that no more. They just walk in broad daylight. They be like, what up, though? Oh, y'all got guns? Don't worry about it. We got Fenty. Y'all got guns? Don't worry about it. As soon as I get home. Soon as I get home. Singing John Legend. Night's the best day ever. Tonight's best I ever had. I don't want to brag, but I'll be the best you ever. Hey, listen, y'all ain't even got to go and get y'all passports anymore. Passports, they coming over here. Ladies, they coming over here. They coming for y'all. Y'all can go ahead and get y'all no green cards, no none of that. Because you know what, green cards are making it a lot more difficult. If you get married to somebody with a green card, you then become responsible for them if y'all decide to get divorced within a specific period of time. But y'all could just get y'all some straight on Mexico. Get y'all a little Jamaican. Jamaica me crazy. Have them come over here. Skip on over into the border. Act like they're Haitian. Come on right in. Go on TikTok. Find out where the cross is. And they're going to be the best I ever had. I don't want to brag. But I'll be. Tonight's the night yeah.
Potential for racial profiling across Texas is what concerns migrant activists like Dylan Corbett.
It's not just against recently arriving migrants who are coming to the border today, but this really goes after Texans throughout the state.
Ed O'Keefe joins me now from Las Vegas. Ed, Mexico says the law in Texas is both anti-immigrant and says they won't accept migrants that Texas officials try to deport. So does this now put a diplomatic problem in President Biden's lap?
It would, and there already really was, John. For the last year, Biden administration officials have been shuttling back and forth to Mexico City to try to convince Mexican officials to help them stop migrants from getting to the Texas or the Arizona borders. In this case, now they'll likely have a few more phone calls about this. And remember,
walking like a mannequin. Look at the Manchurian candidate. Hey, look at the Manchurian candidate. Knees bad, ankles bad, hips bad, memory bad, bad breath, bad teeth, bad hairpiece, bad sun. just bad. Everything is bad. Look.
In this case, now they'll likely have a few
like
more
a
phone calls about this. And remember, this has been a big political issue on this side of the border. Mexico itself is having a presidential election in June.
Don't you trip forward, sir. He walking as though the wind is blowing towards him, and so he walking at a slant. Don't let that wind stop blowing. He going over. Go Biden. Go Biden.
Now they'll likely have a few more phone calls about this. And remember, this has been a big political issue on this side of the border. Mexico itself.
Man, that's a General Dynamics robot. That's not even a real person no more. That's a General Dynamics robot. That is a General Dynamics robot. Boy, telling you, man.
Is having a presidential election in June, so undoubtedly it's going to fuel their politics as well.
Speaking of the election, presidential campaign, the president is in Vegas talking about his economic policies. What's his pitch?
Yeah, he made a stop first in Reno this morning to open a campaign office, then came here to Las Vegas to talk about housing specifically. He's got billions of dollars of budget requests to try to ease the housing crunch and help Americans across the country try to find a home if they can't already, or at least be able to afford one. They came here to Nevada to talk about this because it's an acute part of the problem and the strain on the economy in this state, where things are lagging behind the.
Listen, we don't need to hear any more of this. We know what's going on. They replacing y'all. They giving them guns. They giving them jobs, giving them opportunities, giving them health care, education, teaching them English, and they letting y'all skip the 90-day fiance. Y'all the ones that keep complaining about the fact that y'all got to deal with all of these modern men. Well, there you go. You got a whole bunch of migrant men